What's up, everybody? Trinity here. Welcome back to the Second Street Marvel. It's New Comic Book Wednesday, and today I am going to go over and review some of the new comic books that I brought home from my local comic book shop this week. And it seems like it's been a while since I've seen some of these titles come out, and it seems like it's been a while since I've had this many books come out at once. But thank you all so much for being here today. Now, before we really get into all this, make sure that you do all those YouTube things, right? Make sure that you smash the like button. Hey, you know what? You can feel free to dislike it as well. YouTube's gonna give me feedback about that. They swear. Thank you all so much for being here on New Comic Book Wednesday. I'm going to go over these books that is quite a hefty stack. Look at this. Seriously, look at this stack of books that I have to go over here today. And we're gonna get started right off with Aftershock Comics, My Date with Monsters, issue number 4. This book. This is getting, obviously getting ready to hit issue number 5, which should be the series finale. I believe this is only going to be a 5-issue miniseries. This one right here has been kind of interesting because they finally got into some territory in this book where I'm like, okay, like, I'm glad I'm not the only one here, because the thing that's got me was like when they had this training facility of dudes that they're trying to, and not even dudes, there's women too, they're trying to compete and learn how to satisfy this woman and give her, like, fall in love and have like a relationship. I'm kind of like, really? And here in this book, they finally show the training facility to the woman in question here and everything, and she's kind of like, hey, like, wait a minute. This is a little sick, right? Isn't this a little weird? And like, even the monster, the guy Croak in here was sitting there kind of like, whoa. What? You got what now? And it's just like really weird. And I've been saying that this whole time since like issue 1. I'm like, dude, like, what's going on here? Like, why they got like this whole training facility to try to get people to, like, I don't know, need to, like, I don't know. I thought it was really silly, but issue number 4 of My Date with Monsters, I've really enjoyed this series overall. It's kind of a weird, quirky tale like you kind of expect if you've ever read a Paul Tobin book, but let me know down in the comments below if you have read My Date with Monsters and what you think about it. The Heathens, issue number 4, written by Cullen Bunn and Heath Amodio. In this one, we've got kind of these outcasts, kind of these outlaws, if you will, who are trying to redeem their souls, and they were all put together to try to put a stop to like this Jack the Ripper character who's been going through, and there's like these copycats, like this whole society who are going through killing people, and you can see, that like even the police are on their side of this whole conspiratorial kind of crazy thing. Well, they're going to try to put a stop to it to redeem their souls. And in this one, like, we get a lot of great artwork in this book from Sammy Cavella and Jason Murdy. A lot of great artwork throughout this series. They do quite a bit of work together. Altogether, like, I've really enjoyed the art in here and the story as well. It's not what I come to expect from a Cullen Bunn book, because Cullen Bunn does a lot of horror stuff out there, and you kind of have this expectation of his work and just the stuff that I've read of his. And in here you got him working with Heath Amodio, who has brought something a little bit different to the table. And altogether, I've enjoyed the Heathens overall, and I can't wait to read once the issue 5 comes out and this whole story comes to a close, so I can go back and reread this one and get even more out of it. Because again, this is another one I feel like there's just a little, I'm getting a little less than they're letting on here in this series. But altogether, the Heathens is one I've been enjoying. But let me know down in the comments below if you've been reading Heathens and what you think about it. AWA Upshots out, issue number 5 of 5, and you can see this one right here. It's got, it's kind of got a dark cover on it anyway. It's got a very dark cover on there. Now, this one being written by Rob Williams is kind of telling this horror story about this monster, this vampire-like beast that the Nazis are trying to use to win the war, and they've got these prisoners there in this camp that they are essentially using as bait to get this monster to kill them and get him to grow stronger and go out and win the war for them. And they ended up with this guy who can communicate with just different forms of communication, be it different languages and things like that. that they were trying to get to communicate with this monster to work on their side. And we could see in the last issue there was a real kind of peak of action and everything. And here I think it definitely it probably peaked out there, the drama. In this one, the action peaked out, and then the story wrapped up. I feel like it wrapped up kind of quick here as far as everything going on, and we're still kind of left with this. I don't know, just like this feeling like I don't know. I feel like there was more to this story, there could have been, or maybe should have been, more to this story going on. But altogether, it's a series I thought was pretty good. I've enjoyed a lot of the titles that they've been doing on AWA Upshot, and this is again another one that I feel like I need to go back and read all of this whole series as a whole to really absorb more of what's going on in this series. But altogether, another good title from AWA Upshot. And let me know down in the comments below if you have been reading out and what you think about it. Moving on, we've got on Dark Horse Comics, we've got Orphan and the Five Beasts. This one written by James Stokoe. Now, I didn't realize, I thought this was a 4-issue miniseries, and then issue number 3 came out, and the way it ended, I was like, oh, okay, I guess this is all it. And apparently it wasn't. We've got this last issue here. And I gotta tell you, this series has really, really been great. At least I think this is the last one. But this series has been so great. Now, one of the things is the art, the colors, the letters, the story, everything here is by this writer and artist, James Stokoe. And if you've never seen his work before, the detail in his artwork is absolutely amazing and absolutely beautiful. And that was the first thing that kind of turned me on to this series. But then getting into it, it really gets into this kind of grotesque body horror kind of stuff, which ends up, oh man, James Stokoe is just so great at drawing. A lot of it ends up kind of looking creepy, and the characters in here, and just like it really does, it's really fitting for what's going on here. Let me show you a little bit more of this art here. In the last issue, it really got into some crazy kind of like gross, like nasty stuff. I'm like, yes, this is what I'm after. James Stokoe absolutely killing it with a series like Orphan and the Five Beasts. I've never really read any of his work before. I just seen the art in this book when it was coming out. I was like, I've got to get this. That art seems crazy and a little unsettling. And by the time I opened the book and read it, I'm like, this is definitely going to be a series, definitely a creator worth checking out his work. But let me know down in the comments below if you've been reading Orphan and the Five Beasts, and did you know that this was 4-issue miniseries? I thought it was initially, but then like I figured maybe it got cut down to 3 after reading the 3rd issue, but I don't know. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I don't pull a whole lot of Image comics, and I'll probably be even pulling even less as time goes on here. The first one I've got here is Department of Truth. This is issue number 16 of the Department of Truth. This book being written by James Tynion. It's got a different artist on here in Allison Sampson and colored by Jordi Belair. And they've been doing different artists and everything here through these last handful of books, kind of like they did in, I want to say, what was it, like issue 6 and 7. I think it was of the series as well. Just getting some different people in here, kind of expanding the world once again here. Another James Tynion, the 4th book, expanding this world of this Department of Truth universe and getting a little bit more into some of the characters that we are meeting here and their lives. And here, it's been really good. I believe who we've been following, we were following Hawk for a while, and here I believe we are finally here with I think Lee Harvey Oswald, but we're here this time getting into like the 60s and the early 70s here right here. But they've got this right here, chapter 5, Free Love, and you can see some of the art and the art style going on in this particular book here. It's got the groovy feeling to it, and it's all kind of trippy what's going on here. This series has been really good. What they have been doing with some of the tie-ins and everything, or not even tie-ins, but where they get into different artists and everything, you can tell it's a different tone and a different setting for telling some of these different stories. And I've liked it. Like the first couple they did, I was kind of like I think it was issue 6 and 7. It's kind of like you could probably skip these. But then here, like it's become something like you're accustomed to, I guess. It's not bad. It's just something different. It's like a change of pace, and you can see that by the time they don't have Martin Simmons in here on the art. Altogether, Department of Truth has been definitely one of the better series out there. Again, being written by James Tynion IV, and a lot of people talk about James Tynion IV like he's some great writer and he does do something. Look, he's not doing anything groundbreaking. He's not doing anything crazy. He's just doing simple storytelling, building worlds, expanding these worlds that he is building in, I would say, in a slow pace. Like they feel like they're a little bit slower than they could be. Like it could be hurried up a little bit longer over here. But the thing is he's doing just simple, basic storytelling and doing a good job of it. And the one thing I will say when it comes to most things is all you got to do is you don't have to be great. It's great if you could be great and even better, but start with doing the basics. Right? Start with doing the basics. And that's one thing that James Tynion has done, is start with doing the basics and not messing that up, and then building these worlds out and doing bigger and better things with them as they've kind of been growing. But James Tynion IV, like I said, I think he's good. I'm not saying he's bad, but I think some people make it a little bit bigger than it is, because sometimes we do see a lot of books and writers out there who, maybe they take too long to tell a story, or they're not, or maybe they're taking it a little too fast. They just don't put in the kind of time and dedication into their books and their writing and what they are doing. But James Tynion IV, I would say here, like with Something is Killing the Children, is something a little bit different than Department of Truth, because Department of Truth is really kind of telling the story, building on a lot of conspiracy theories and things throughout the past 50, 100 years, even longer than that, if you really kind of get into some of it, right? So altogether, it's been really good. Let me know down in the comments below what you think of Department of Truth. And hey, let me know, am I wrong about James Tynion IV? It's okay. It's okay for you to beat me up in the comments below, but I want to know all your thoughts down there in the comments below. Now let's move on into the next book that I have here on Image Comics. This one right here is I believe this one's a one-shot. I think this one's a one-shot, but this is Supermassive, issue number 1. And again, I believe, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I thought this was a one-shot. It could be, but Supermassive is here, and this one is expanding the world of Radiant Black, a series that they have been doing here, an ongoing series on Image Comics, telling about these people who ended up getting these kind of cosmic beings in suits that absorb into them, and they do give them different super special powers and abilities. Some people have compared it to the likes of Power Rangers, and in this particular issue, as they're expanding this world, they're getting ready to, they talk about it here in the back of the book, to release Rogue Sun, Infernal Radiant Red, and Infernal Girl Red. But they've got this ad here for the different books that they are expanding this universe with here. And people, like I said, people have compared it to Power Rangers, and here it makes a little bit more sense as you get Ryan Parrott coming into this series as well. In case you didn't know, Ryan Parrott has done quite a bit of writing with the Power Rangers universe, and some people making those comparisons probably for that same reason, and maybe that's part of the reason they brought this in here, getting a little meta here, right? And I don't know, the series I've really enjoyed overall. Like the first few issues of Radiant Black were kind of like, and then the friend got the suit, and I'm like, okay, yeah, like I'm a little more, I like this a little bit more. And they've been slowly, again, kind of building this world out in a good way, introducing these new characters and expanding the world. And they're doing, it looks like they're starting to do it at a little bit more rapid of a pace. And this particular issue, you can see it's kind of a thicker issue. It's $5.99. One thing I will say is, like, the cover quality here, it's not like a super thick cover. I mean, it's, a little bit thicker than the interior pages, maybe just a little bit. But the art in this book is absolutely great as well. There's but $5.99 for this book right here, and in these days of this modern comic era, I would say $5.99 for a book this thick is actually a pretty good value. Now, I will say, something else I've talked about with another series I've been reading is in this particular book, they do quite a bit of storytelling through art because there's some action and things that go on in this particular book that, you know, you don't really need words for when they're sitting there fighting and kicking ass, but and doing some of those things, right? But in this one, you know, there's a lot of that, and the art in this series has been pretty good. The art in this book is pretty good. They've been switching up kind of the artists as well, and here they got several different writers, several different artists as well, who are handling these different characters that they are expanding this universe with. Now, again, I've enjoyed this series and kind of this world that they are expanding. I'll probably read some of these. I know they've got a, what is it they say? The one of them, Radiant Red, is a mini series. Rogue Sun is going to be another ongoing series like Radiant Black. And then it says Infernal Girl Red is a graphic novel. But in this particular issue, like I said, it's pretty thick. You know, you get in here. One of the things that I noticed when getting in here is we get to this point, kind of not even really in the middle of the book, as the heroes are getting ready to go into action. They all suit up right here in this little spread. They all suit up, and then that spread opens up into a 4-page spread. And look at this spread here that we've got. So we got Infernal Girl Red, Radiant Black, and Rogue Sun here in this 4-issue spread. And I'll tell you, I think this is pretty good art, and that's a pretty good, cool layout and everything, right? It is. But I kind of feel like they could have done a little bit better here. I mean, we've got them suiting up, and then you've got this 4-page spread of just the heroes standing there. When then you you flip to the next page, and you've got all this action going on in these tiny, small panels. Okay, and they're not tiny and small, but you've got all this action going on in these small panels. And it makes me feel like, why didn't on one page, on one of these pages, do like split it in 4 or split it in 3 or whatnot, or maybe just do a 2-page spread of all of them in their little suits, and then do something like this, the big action in that big full 4-page spread, because I could imagine this having a lot different look in a big full 4-page spread like they did with that kind of centerfold, double centerfold style thing in there. And like, it kind of makes me think of what were they thinking here? Like, I want to see the heroes in the suits and everything, but I think it would have been better seeing all the big action in that big sprawl as opposed to just the heroes suited up. Like, the heroes and everything are cool, but why not the action big and sprawling? I think it would have been made a little bit better. But I don't know, maybe it's just me. Altogether, I thought the book was pretty good. $5.99, not a bad price on this one. I thought Supermassive was good. Definitely a must read if you have been reading Radiant Black and are getting into this expanded world of Radiant Black. But let me know down in the comments below if you have read Supermassive and what you think about it. I know Two Brothers Comics, they did an exclusive of this as well. You can find their channel down in the description of this video, or you can go to twobrotherscomics.com where you can check out, they have their exclusive cover over there. Make sure that you go check it out. Now, the next one I want to talk about here on Image Comics is Bolero issue number 2. Now, this series right here, again, is another one that's $5.99 on the price tag, and it's kind of a thicker issue here as well. Now, this one right here is definitely a series that's not gonna be for everybody. You've got a lot of different kind of things going on in this book, and the reason it's not gonna be for everybody is because you're dealing with this girl, these lesbians, right? These lesbians who fell in love when they were, probably, teenagers, maybe a little bit older, and they just, and it's that. And then it kind of gets into some trans kind of stuff. And then it gets, it's this story about this girl who was in love, and one thing or another, the relationship ended up not working out. She wasn't happy, and she got offered a solution, and that is to go into a different reality with basically her in a different reality. And she has to go into these other lives and find out what the status quo is of her in this life with this woman that she loved, and trying to make and get into that relationship and make it last. Now, the story itself seems pretty simple, you go through, like, you kind of go through the progression of love and finding out all that stuff, and like, oh, the real issue is it's not them, it's you, and maybe you need to help them. In a relationship, you're supposed to kind of complement each other. You don't want somebody like there's a lot of things that are gonna kind of go on in this. It's like, yeah, it's like a rom com, right? Hey, and believe me when I say I'm the rom com fucking master, okay? But this right here, I know some people probably aren't into it just for those reasons alone. Like I said, you got the lesbians and you get into some of the trans stuff. Like, I don't really give a shit about any of that. I just want a good story. And in Bolero, I think we're getting that here. This story has been pretty good. And I won't say that there's anything profound going on here. Just a pretty good story. Something not like unlike I've seen in different movies and things that I've watched out there. I think, like a lot of people talk about these kinds of things, in comic books, like things like being woke and the representation and all this stuff out there. The indie comics is where you tell these kinds of stories. You don't need to take and change an Iceman or mess with a Kitty Pride. No, you don't have to do that. You can get in and tell these kinds of stories in great ways in indie comic books, and books like Bolero, I think, are very good at doing that. But let me know down in the comments below if you've read Bolero and what you think about it. I'd like to hear all of your thoughts down in the comments below. The next one that I have here is on Source Point Press, and I don't pull hardly any books from Source Point Press, but this one comes to us from a friend of the channel here, writer George McHale. This is The Cover of Darkness, issue number 2. Now, this is one of the ones I didn't get a chance to read. I did get a chance to read issue number 1. I thought it was really good, and I can't wait to read this one here. Issue number 2 of The Cover of Darkness. But let me know if this is a title that you have been reading and what you think about issue number 1, and let me know what you think about issue number 2 if you've read it as well. And we'll go ahead and move into some Vault comics. The first one we got here is Heathen, issue number 1. This is like this foil reprint of this book by writer artist Natasha Altarisi, and they're doing this. They're kind of, I don't know, I would say doing kind of an anniversary kind of special edition kind of thing here. And I've never read this series. It was $7.99 for this cover. And I know one of the things, they're doing several of these books like this. And I know they just solicited I believe it's a hardcover of the full series getting ready to come out here on Vault Comics. This is another one of the ones I didn't get a chance to read yet, but Vault Comics, I like a lot of the books they're doing. They rarely ever disappoint me with books of theirs that I have read that sounded interesting to me. There's been a couple of books out there that they've done that just didn't sound like they were my style, and I didn't really check out. And some of them that I just wanted to wait for the trades, as I'm like, okay, like I'll wait for this story to expand here. Heathen is definitely one of those ones that I don't know. I believe I put in my pre-order for the full volume, so I guess we'll get it in and see how it is. Moving on into the next one I've got here on Vault Comics is We Ride Titans, issue number 2. Now, this one right here, I think the story here seems like something, it's something we've probably kind of seen before. You've got this family who kind of controls and runs these mech droids who they use to go out and fight these monsters. And the son, who is an alcoholic, he's got his personal issues, probably daddy issues. And, well, wouldn't that be mommy issues? And then, like with the daughter, it's the daddy issues, because we kind of see both going on here, right? The father really messed these kids up. And the one kid, like he fell off the wagon. He's drunk and he's out there using the mech, and so he walked off. He's done. So they called in his sister, who's kind of moved away from the family and kind of distanced herself from the family. And they call her in, and she goes in to fill in for him. And here we get a little bit of expansion in that story where she goes to her brother and she's like, "Hey, I'm just here to at least get this done. I don't want to be here. This is your thing." And that's kind of what we see. It's kind of a more family drama going on with this kind of mech kaiju kind of thing. Altogether, I think the story here through the first two issues has been pretty good. And the art here isn't too bad. The only thing I think when it comes to a lot of the art in this book is you can see that the art, a lot of it just looks really flat. And the backgrounds as well. That's really my only thing, and I think it's something that a lot of not even a lot, but you see in books from time to time where they neglect background so much, because I feel like even just a little bit of more backgrounds throughout this book gives everything a little bit more depth. Like even in here, like you get a little bit of a background, but I feel like there just needs to be a little bit more detail to really give something like this a little bit more depth and feel a little bit more engaging getting in and reading this story. But altogether, We Ride Titans has been a pretty good series through these first two issues. But let me know what you think down in the comments below if you have been reading We Ride Titans. Now, the next book that I've got here is one that I have really enjoyed this series so far. This is Radio Apocalypse issue number 2 on Vault Comics, and I got to tell you, the issue number 1 I thought was pretty dang good. I'm kind of building this world, it really feels like a post-apocalyptic world, and they use some certain musical choices in there that as I was reading it, like I could hear the song in my head as the story is going on, right? Kind of sets the tone here. And I've seen other books do similar things as well. Some books I've seen where they'll put like the little QR codes in there, and they'll have like a video on YouTube or something like that where you could go and listen to the song. Well, this one right here is kind of this post-apocalyptic world where resources are limited and people live in these kind of fenced-off colonies, if you will, or these fenced-off estates where these, like I said, the sources are limited. And they've got, in this particular town, Bakerstown, they've got this radio station, the last radio station. But we've seen in the last issue, everything that was kind of going on, they've got these Xenos that roam the earth at nights. So you don't want to be outside at night. And we see here that there's one of the other towns out there that is basically don't have the ability to sustain their own lives, if you will. And so they are coming to Bakerstown, and we see here the residents kind of getting ready for that, as well as we see this particular issue about the day tripper, who she goes out and delivers resources and messages and things between some of these different places. And in this issue, that's where we kind of get this world expanded a little more here in issue number 2. And I got to tell you, I've really enjoyed this series. The art style in here of Anand RK is definitely one that it definitely has a certain feel to a certain mood. It's got that very indie vibe, something that I've kind of come to expect from a Vault Comics, and the coloring in here very good as well. And you can see just a little bit more of the greatness here in this book. But this series right here, I've read these first 2 issues, and I gotta say, I really do like them. Ram V has been an artist that has, writer, I guess, who has been coming up and doing some really great work. He's done several series for Vault Comics as well. I believe he also did These Savage Shores, which is another one I haven't read on Vault Comics, but I need to check it out. And while I'm here talking about Radio Apocalypse, I should probably tell you all about Horizon Comics. They have this shop exclusive right here that you can order from their website. I believe if you go to shop.horizoncomics.com. Yeah, shop.horizoncomics.com. I believe that's what it is. You can go there and check out and buy this exclusive cover that they have there. I'm also going to be giving away a copy of this, the trade dress, and even the Virgin variant as soon as we hit 2,000 subscribers here on the channel. To get entered into that, you just got to go back, watch some of the videos, comment on them and stuff, right? Comment that you like Radio Apocalypse and want to get into the giveaway, right? Isn't that what you do? Comment, put Radio Apocalypse in there. Yeah, do that. But this series, if you don't want to do that, you can go buy your own copy. And this series is very, very good. Definitely one worth checking out. Now let's get into this last book that I have here for the day. Once again on Bolt Comics, part of their Nightfall line of comics. Right here we got This Hungry Earth Reddens Under Snow-Clad Hills, or The Rush. I've enjoyed this series, kind of this Western style horror going on in the Pacific Northwest, where the gold rush is on, and the gold rush has got people going crazy. And in here, it really comes to a head as this woman is out trying to track and locate her son who has gone missing. And apparently he had this spot of land where they were going and prospecting for gold. And then mysteriously, the deed started changing hands. And that's what she's there to investigate, exactly what happened to her son after her father had been home and hadn't actually been home and was not there with his son. So she's been going out and trying to figure out what's going on in this mystery. Has been kind of horrific as she's been uncovering what is exactly happened to him. And they have this guy right here who has been kind of going out and, how would you say, keeping people who are there who have this gold rush madness, right? It drives them mad, keeping them rounded up and keeping them from leaving this town. Like, there's some crazy supernatural shit going on here. Altogether, I really enjoyed this series. It's written by Cy Spurrier, and the other thing that I really like here is the artist in here, Nathan Gooden, just does really great on a lot of the artwork that he does. And This Hungry Earth Reddens for Under Snow-Clad Hills has been an absolutely great series. One I would definitely recommend if you want kind of a not even sci-fi, I guess a good horror kind of old Western book. Really good stuff. But anyway, that's all I've got for my comic book pull list and reviews this week, guys. Let me know down in the comments below what's on your comic book pull list. And one of these books was your favorite read this week, or what was your favorite read this week of the books that you've read. But let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below.